first thing that comes to mind is always related to trying to make your CRM like an ERP. To me, that's the biggest mistake that I see in the market. A sales cycle is never as linear as a production cycle of any sort.
So for companies in that industry, manufacturers, they actually make stuff. What are the big concepts they should keep in mind when it comes to their CRM and what's around it?
Actually, with regards to the CRM, there are a few things that they need to take into consideration. So one of them is, a CRM is not an ERP. So manufacturing companies, they need to realize that those two tools are actually two different tools, and they serve very two different purposes. So they need to focus their CRM on everything related to the customer contact. So to get a good visibility, good understanding of their customers, so the 360-degree view of their customers is really important. And then after that is pretty much facilitate any interactions that they can have with their customers using a solid CRM.
And you mentioned the ERP. So what are the things that together the ERP and the CRM working together, that can be leveraged by these manufacturers to get the best returns?
So actually what we see to be the best combination in with a few of our customers is actually their ERP interconnected to their CRM. And the reason why it's so powerful, because it brings the two sides together. So an ERP is really structured, it's really defined. It's used to manage all of your production, your inventories, also any type of supplies that are currently in transit to be produced and to be shipped. So very robust, very strict, very structured. On the other hand, the CRM aspect will give you the flexibility to have that more of human touch, that more customer-centric approach to how you handle your customers. So when you connect the two together, you have a very positive customer experience supported by a very efficient manufacturing machine.
Okay. And can we get into a bit more detail, things that are more tangible? Going one level down, types of automations, applications, integrations they should focus on with their CRM to help their companies the most?
Yeah. Actually, one of the first thing is just to bring to the customer-facing teams comprehensive information about what's going on in the production plant. So just to bring back information about invoices, orders, status of a specific order. If you bring it into the CRM when a customer calls, it's very, very easy for that person to have the information they need, or when they interact with the customer to have a better understanding of what's the status of the account, what's going on. So that's kind of one of the key thing. The other thing after that is really related to how you manage your business and how you manage the churn. Because if in your CRM you leverage those reporting capabilities and alerts, then if you're expecting 100K a month from a certain customer, the following month it falls short to 50K, then you actually easily can have an alert to say that customer's revenues have dropped by more than 20%, so you should investigate. Usually that will give you some very good insights on what's going on in the market, as well as basically to see if maybe another competitor is actually eating at one of your customers.
Okay, and when you're talking about the customer-facing side of the company, you mean sales, you mean customer support, you mean what teams can use a CRM to get their company to the next level?
So actually everybody, usually inside sales, direct sales people, with manufacturing companies, channel management people, channel managers actually are also people that can leverage a CRM, because the majority of, a lot of the manufacturing companies actually, they do business through a network of distributors. So to have a good understanding of who are your big end customers, as well as how to efficiently manage your distribution network, those are two things that a CRM can actually help you do very nicely.
Okay, how exactly?
So how it's insights on the business. When you're managing your distribution network, you need to know who handles what, like which customer is actually handled by which distributors, what type of business flows through which type of distributors. The CRM allows you to have that granularity and to bring the information to life for the people to manage it. It's really in the reporting and dashboard capabilities that you'll see the big benefits there. Is really what we call having the 360-degree view of the customer. So you can have the same thing about your distributors. And the other also very good big advantage is with a properly set CRM, you can actually build relationships between those people. So you can actually pivot very rapidly what's going on and who does what. So that provides you even more insights into your business.
Okay. So if I'm trying to put these things together, your different sales teams, inside sales, external sales, partner managers, customer service, have all the information related to their customers in the CRM. It's connected to the ERP, so you also have the ordering flow, etc., the details, and that enables them to sell better and service better.
Yep. No, precisely. It's for a lot of manufacturing companies, the market dynamics is actually quite complex. So, and I'll give you the example of one of the customers we've been working with. They actually, historically, they were doing a kind of very large, big building projects. And they were always doing those projects via a specific distributor. By implementing a CRM, what they've been able to do now is they can now track those projects themselves and have a lot more direct interactions with the actual builder, who's the general contractor is, what's the status of that project, and be able to themselves lead their growth with those large building constructions. And without a CRM, they did not have that ability because they were somewhat blind to what really was going on in the market. Now, with the CRM, it brings everything to light, enabling the actual executives to take decisions and then realign their sales force and their activities.
All right. So where appropriate, their inside teams have all the information they need. They can push some of that out to their partners who need it, and they're also fed information by their partner because they're connected to their CRM. All right. Sometimes small improvements, and we went a bit into the details. We wouldn't go too far. I do want to pick a very small, concrete example. So sometimes small improvements can generate big results. What is a small optimization you could do in your CRM that seems insignificant but can end up generating a lot of upside for manufacturers?
One of my favorite one actually is regarding reports and dashboard. So usually, when you're looking at any type of reports pulled from ERP systems, they're usually pretty static, which means that you get kind of one view of something. One thing that I really like to do with my customers is you actually grab one report, but you pivot it multiple times in the dashboard. So very rapidly, by a click of a button, you actually have the whole thing refreshed with real-time information. And then you're able to see the same situation, but from multiple perspectives at the same time. So at the executive level, usually that will give them some very good insights on what's going on there, what's going well, what needs to be actioned, and then be able to take the actions appropriately.
All right. Yeah, good example. And so I want to go on the opposite side of the coin. Sometimes, implementing a CRM or upgrading it or adding more stuff, and people focus on things that actually won't give them good returns, right? What is an example of something that shouldn't grab people's attention, they shouldn't focus on, or at least they should deprioritize in their to-do list?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is always related to trying to make your CRM like an ERP. To me, that's the biggest mistake that I see in the market. ERPs are meant to be very specific, very structured, very robust. But CRM, they're not meant to be like that. A sales cycle is never as linear as a production cycle of any sort. So the biggest mistake that manufacturers should avoid is trying to make their CRM too strict. So give the ability, don't put a lot of validation rules. Don't think that you can add, 40 questions that the salespeople needs to fill before he gets to a certain status, those sort of things. Keep it simple to start with. And then after that, as you use it, see what's missing to generate the next value and then invest in that specific improvement.
Yeah.
be my recommendation.
And typically with modern platforms like a Salesforce, you can improve by increments very quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have to plan, okay, what do we need in 2 years? No. Do what you need for the next month, and then for the next month, and the next month, and the next month.
Yeah.
Going back to a higher level, the market is moving really fast. Of course, everything was disrupted by the pandemic. There was also supply chain issues due to the pandemic, but due to also other factors. If you look at everything that's happening, the speed at which it's happening, how can a CRM help a company navigate this change and these disruptions?
The CRM will help navigate through this, all of the changes and the market dynamics just by providing you with better insights on what's going on. That's really is the key driver, especially with manufacturers. They need to get closer to their end customers. That really, what should be their target. Because, with the technology right now, the actual supply chain is getting shorter and shorter. So they need to make sure that whatever they do, not only from a marketing standpoint, but understanding their larger customers, what's going on with them, how to even try to kind of secure even the sales directly, but then fulfilling it through their distribution network. But it's really important for them to have a very good understanding of what's going on with the end user so that they can actually react to the market dynamics.
Yeah. Going back to the people, so if a company is working on their CRM, of course, that's going to be an internal project. Maybe there's an external service providers that work on that project. If I'm a manufacturer working on my own digital acceleration project, what is the mindset that I should have to get the best outcomes of my project?
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't try to boil the ocean. I've seen so many times what I call analysis paralysis. Because if you try to put in a system a very complex process, at one point you can put it on paper, you can draw boxes, but it just becomes too complex even for human brain to be able to process it. So go one step at a time. There's kind of an old saying that I really like is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. So. Okay.
I hadn't heard that one. So we talked about the right mindset. What would be the mind traps they should avoid? So if that's the right mindset, what is the wrong mindset or assumptions they should try to avoid when working on their own projects?
Well, I think it's the mindset shift from how projects were run, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, to the capabilities of the new platform. The mindset they should avoid is try to think that if they don't describe or list all of their requirements right now, they won't have another shot at implementing them. The new platforms, they allow you to really drive digital acceleration, to make changes every month, and that's what they should leverage. Go with the priorities and then kind of build on it and just add functionalities as you go along over time.
All right. And last question I have for you. So what do you wish for manufacturers that are trying to navigate this environment, that are trying to grow, that are trying to seize these opportunities or mitigate the risk that they have? So what is your wish for all the manufacturers out there?
I would just wish for them to get into that digital acceleration path, to move from a digital transformation, which is really static in time, to really investing a little bit every month just to get better every month, because the market changes every day, every month. So they need to have the similar improvement track. They need to align how they do things to how the market is evolving. That would be my wish. And the good thing there is that the platforms now, they really allow you to do that. So they should seize the opportunity.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jean-Philippe, for dropping by. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Super. Pleasure.